Sorry, I couldn't get that, but you want me to keep talking or no? Okay. All right, it looks like we are ready to begin Shabbat Shalom to our small group gathered here in our courtyard on what turned out to be a beautiful night, a crisp night, but a beautiful night, despite the rain all day, which is wonderful. We need the rain. And Hashem wanted us to pray together up 6 feet apart. So here we are this evening, and thank you for joining us if you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook. We are going to begin. I feel like we got an extra soul to a certain extent this week, and this Shabbat brings yet another soul. So page 1, Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh. Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman, Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman, Mishoch Avdecha, El Ritzonecha, Mishoch Avdecha, Ya la 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 la, El Ritzonecha. Yarut Avdecha Kemo Aya Yishtachave Elai Ya la 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 El Mul Hadarecha. All right, let's turn to Yismechu Hashamayim on page 6. Let the heavens rejoice and the earth be glad. Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, Yismechu Hashamayim, V'tagel haaretz. Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam umelo, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam, Yiram hayam umelo. So thank you to our assembled for clapping at the appropriate parts. The best way to participate in these services. The clapping is muffled because there's a lot of gloves and mittens on, and not just because of the Bernie Sanders pose, which is everywhere. Including there's pictures of him on the Temple Beth Abraham steps and everything. All right, we are going to go to Romamu on page 12. Romamu Adonai Eloheinu v'hishtachavu Nahar Kodsho. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu ve'ishtachavu Nahar Kodsho. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Ki Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu Romemu. Romemu Adonai Eloheinu V'hishtachavu Lehar Kodsho. All right, we're going to be on page 13, Mizmor LeDavid. For several years in a row, actually, one of our members, Tamar Brinus, was doing Mizmor LeDavid as a 4th grader, 5th grader, 6th grader, and on. And, we're not sharing the pulpit so much anymore tonight, but she's going to be leading Shacharit tomorrow. So she will be here, which is wonderful. And God willing, we'll be able to gather in person and be able to share all the microphones before she graduates high school. But she's only a 10th grader, so I think there's a very good shot. Mizmor LeDavid, Havol Adonai Breli, אהבו לאדוני כבוד ועוז, איי איי איי, אהבו לאדוני כבוד שמו ישתחוו לאדוני בארץ קודש, כל אדוני על המים אל הכבוד ירי, אדוני על מים רבים, כל אדוני בכוח, איי איי איי, כל אדוני בהדר, כל אדוני שובר ארצים, וישבר אדוני את ארזי הלבנון, וירכירם כמו עגל לבנון וסריון, כמו sorry, I lost my place for a second. כמו בן רעמים, איי איי, כל אדוני חוצב לעבוד אש, כל אדוני יאכיל מדבר, יאכיל אדוני מדבר קרש, כל אדוני יחולל איילון, ויחסו יערות, ובהיכלו כולו אומר כבוד, איי איי איי, אדוני למה בו ישב וישב, אדוני מלך לעולם, אדוני עוז לעמו ייתן, אדוני יברך את עמו בשלום, איי 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 ניי 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 ניי, איי ניי ניי ניי, איי ניי 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 ניי, yai nai nai nai, yai nai nai, yai nai 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 nai, yai nai 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 nai, yai 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 nai 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 nai, yai nai 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 nai, yai nai 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 nai. Page 15, Lecha Dodi. First and last two stanzas. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor b'dibur echad, Hishmianu el hamyuchad, Adonai echad, Ushemo echad, L'shemo tiferet v'li'ila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'nelcha, Ki hi mekor habracha, Merosh mikedem nesucha, So ma'aseh b'machshavat tchila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Bottom of 17. Yamin usmol tifrotzi, Et Adonai taritzi, Al yad ish ben partzi, V'nismecha v'nagila. Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala, Penei Shabbat nekabela. We rise and face the entrance. Boi v'shalom ateret bala, Gam besimcha uvetzola, Toch emunei am segula. Boi kala, Lecha Dodi, Lecha Dodi likrat kala, פני שבת נקבלה, לך דודי לקראת קהלה, פני שבת נקבלה. And to any mourners in our midst, we say, Makom menachem etchem b'tok sharaf le'etzion v'Yerushalayim. May God comfort you with all the mourners of Zion and Jerusalem. We may be seated. We are on page 19. Mizmor shir leyom hashabat, tov lehodot le'Adonai, ulezamer le'shimcha elyon, lezamer le'shimcha elyon, להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות, עלי עשור ועלי נבל, עלי היגיון בכינור. מזמור שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני, ולזמר לשמך עליון, ולזמר לשמך עליון. We continue silently, pages 19 and 20. Tzadika tamar yifrach, kerez balvanon yisgeh, shetulim beveit Adonai bechatzrot, Eloheinu yafrichu, od yenuvun beseva. Deshenim verananim yiyu lehagid ki yashar Adonai tzuri velo avlatabo. Adonai malach god lavesh Adonai azit azar aftikon tevel baltimo nachon kisacha meaz mamata nasu nerot Adonai nasu nerot kolam Isunarot och yamim mi kolod mayim rabim adirim mishpereyam adir bamarom Adonai erotecha ne'emenu me'od leveitecha nava kodesh Adonai leorech yamim. We rise for the Baruch Hu, page 22. Yael la 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 la. Yael la 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 la. Yael la 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 la. Yael la 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 la. Yael la 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 la. Baruch Hu et Adonai hamevorach. Baruch Adonai hamevorach hamevorach leolam va'ed. Baruch Adonai hamevorach leolam va'ed. We can be seated. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bivaro ma'ariv aravim. Brayom v'layla, golel mipnei choshech, v'choshech mipnei or. V'yom u'vei layla, mavdir ben yom u'vei layla, Adonai tzva'ot shemo. El chai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu le'olam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai, ha'ma'ariv aravim. We're on page 24. Ahavat olam. Beit Yisrael v'ta, Amcha v'ta. Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Al ken Adonai Eloheinu b'shochenu, Kumenu nasiach v'chukecha, v'nismak b'divrei Toratecha, uv'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu ve'orech yameinu, uvahem nege yomam v'layla, nege yomam v'layla. Ve'avatecha al tasir mimeinu le'olamim, Baruch ata Adonai Ohev amo Yisrael, Ohev amo Yisrael. Page 25. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad. Ve'ahavta et Adonai Elohecha, v'chol levavecha, v'chol nafshecha, v'chol me'odecha, v'hayu hadvarim ha'ele, asher anochi metzavecha, hayom alevavecha, v'shinantam levanecha, v'dibarta baham, v'shivtecha b'veitecha, uvlechtecha v'derech, uv'shokbecha uv'kumecha, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך, ובשעריך וים. We continue silently, pages 27 and 28. למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותיי והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם, אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים, אני אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. Page 32. Last week was the Debbie Friedman Yort site, and I neglected to do a Debbie Friedman Micha Mocha, so I'm going to make up for it and do one of hers this week. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai. מי כמוך באלים אדוני, מי כמוך נהדר בקודש, נורא תהילות אוסף פלא, נורא תהילות אוסף פלא. מלכותך ראו בניך, בוקע ים לפני משה, זה אלי אנו ואמרו, זה אלי אנו ואמרו. אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד, אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד. יאי לה 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 לה, יאי לה 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 לה, יאי לה 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 לה, יאי לה 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 לה. ונאמר כפרנת יעקב, גלמר חזק ממנו, ברוך אתה אדוני, גל ישראל. Page 33. השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, ועמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. ושמור צאתנו, ובואנו, לחיים ושלום, מעתה ועד עולם. השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. השכיבנו אדוני, אלוהינו לשלום, והעמידנו מלכנו לחיים. פרוס עלינו סוכת שלומך, ברוך אתה אדוני, פרוס סוכת שלום עלינו ועל כל מישראל ועל ירושלים. And we rise for Vishamru, page 34. If you're listening, Solomon, Mazel Tov again on your bar mitzvah, the Vishamru kid. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם, אותי לעולם. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. כי 6 ימים עשה אדוני, עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. וביום השביעי שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש, שבת וינפש. ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת, לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. Page 35. יתגדל ויקדש שמי רבה, בעמד יברח חירותי, בהמליך מלכותי, בחייכון וביומכון, ובחיי לכל בית ישראל, בעגלה בעגלה, ובזמן קריב אמרו אמן. יהי שמי רבה מבורך, לעולם ולעלמי עלמיה יתברך, יתברך וישתבח, יתברך וינשא, ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל, שמי לקודשה בריחו, לעילא מן כל ברכתה ושירתה, Tushbechata v'nechemata damihiran bialma veimeru. Amen. Private Amidah, pages 37 through 48. Hope you got to enjoy the extra long silent prayer there. Sorry about that. Eli, Eli, shelo yigamer leolam, hachol v'hayam, rishru shel hamayim, berak hashamayim, tfilat adam. Hachol v'hayam, rishru shel hamayim, berak hashamayim, tfilat ha'adam. O Lord my God, I pray that these things never end. The sand and the sea, the rush of the water, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart, the sand and the sea, the rush of the waters, the crash of the heavens, the prayer of the heart. So one of our members who's here tonight, I know that's one of her favorite prayers, so that's why I sang that instead of Oseh Shalom. If you have a favorite prayer, a favorite version of a prayer, and you want to hear it sometime at services, and you're at services, let me know, because I love to do that. I mean, I could just say I take requests, but that sounds a little odd in the religious context. All right, page 53, the Kaddish Shalem. Yikarav yikra shmei Rabbah, ve'amad yivrach chirutei ve'amlich malchutei, b'chayachon ve'amechon ochel Beit Yisrael, bagalav izman kari ve'imeru, amen. Yahei shmei Rabbah mevorach, ve'olam le'almei almaya yitbarach, yitbarach v'ishtabach, yitbarach v'imram v'inaseh, Vitadar Vitalevi Talal Shmei Kudsha Barichu Le'elamin Kol Berchata V'Shirata Tishbechata V'Nechemata Tamiram Be'alma V'imeru Amen Tikabot Soton Voton Korama V'Hondi V'Shmaya V'imeru Amen Yeshlam Ram Min Shemaya V'Chaim Le'Lev Kol Yisrael V'imeru Amen Oseh Shalom B'Romav Hu Yaseh Shalom Aleinu Ve'al Kol Yisrael Ve'al Kol Yoshvei Tevel V'imeru Amen. All right, we can close our books for a few moments, and it's time for the presidents and the Jews, which I've been doing every week, starting at the beginning. We're up to, I believe it's James K. Polk, except that I'm not doing him this week. I'm doing Joe Biden as we go into the administration, because this is probably the most Jewish administration in the history of the United States. So if you've noticed, you've been paying attention and tuning in at any of these weeks, you know, this president, John Quincy Adams sort of knew one Jew in South Carolina because they corresponded or whatever. Somebody was appointed to a captain of the Navy, or maybe, consul in Tunis. But for Joe Biden, it's quite a bit more than that. First of all, let's start with his own family. So President Trump I wouldn't say started the tradition exactly, but he had his son-in-law and his daughter were Jewish, and they played a major role, of course, in the White House. Now, Clinton's and Gore's, their children also married Jews, but that was after they were inhabiting the White House. So you may or may not know this, but all of Joe Biden's children, I believe, married Jews, or there are three of them. If there's four, it's only three of them. But Hallie Oliver Now Hallie Biden was the wife of Beau Biden, and later dated Hunter afterward with the blessing of the family, but she was Jewish. Beau is now married to Melissa Cohen, and Ashley Biden is married to Dr. Howard Krein. And so there are Jewish children, Jewish grandchildren at varying levels of observance and identity, but lots of Jews within the Biden family itself. In his cabinet and in not just in the cabinet, but in all kinds of leadership positions, first of all, you have Chief of Staff Ronald Klain, born and raised in Indianapolis, and he was on, well, not him, both George W. Bush and Barack Obama had Jewish chiefs of staff as well. So he's not the first president to do that. Secretary of State Anthony Blinken from New York. His stepfather was a Holocaust survivor. He's from New York, but he grew up partly in Paris, and he's proud to play on a JCC indoor soccer team. Secretary of the Treasury is Janet Yellen, Brooklyn-born, formerly of the Federal Reserve Board, and unfortunately she's been the victim of a lot of anti-Semitism, a lot of anti-Semitic stereotypes used against her because she's a money expert. The Attorney General, Merrick Garland, almost Supreme Court Judge Merrick Garland. He's from Skokie. He has a fairly typical Jewish background in terms that his grandparents fled the pogroms in Eastern Europe. Director of National Intelligence is Avril Haines, and she's from Manhattan, has taken many trips to Israel, very proud Jewish woman. The Assistant Secretary of Health, Rachel Levine, from Wakefield, Massachusetts, is a trans Jewish woman and the first trans woman at all in that high of a position in the government. The Deputy National Advisor for Cybersecurity is Ann Neuberger. She's Orthodox from Brooklyn. She's a graduate of the yeshiva Beis Yaakov, which is a very famous Orthodox women's yeshiva. And her parents were on the flight that was rescued in Entebbe, that was hijacked and rescued in Entebbe. And the Senate Majority Leader, although not an appointment of Joe Biden, Chuck Schumer, is a Jew, an extremely proud Jew. I've heard him speak many times. And the second gentleman, as he calls himself, Doug Emhoff, husband of Vice President Kamala Harris, is Jewish. Biden has had lots of relationships with Jews throughout his career, pre-Senate and as a senator. I'll tell one story which is kind of famous in just a moment. But I also want to just mention the flip side. Just as for President Trump, we saw all kinds of right-wing anti-Semitism rise to the forefront, there will be left-wing anti-Semites that are emboldened by Joe Biden being president. Not Biden encouraging that in any way whatsoever. Biden is a real friend to the Jewish community, in my opinion. But I'm already seeing in writings, in sort of intellectual circles, the sort of the anti-Zionism, anti-Semitism, and more. And you will see that. It's just going to be part of the Jewish factor of him being president. Finally, the story about Biden, there's a story about him in that in February of 2006, he just showed up at the shiva of an elderly Jewish widow named Sylvia Greenhouse. Sylvia Greenhouse had sent $18 to Biden's election campaigns since 1972. And the minyan was led by Rabbi Beals. It took place in the laundry room of Greenhouse's senior living facility because the apartment wasn't big enough. But not really a laundry room, but it's a rec room with laundry machines in there. And Rabbi Beals was stunned to see Biden show up unannounced. And he wrote, "There were no news outlets at our service that day, no Jewish reporters or important dignitaries. That's just who he is." So he's often called a mensch. And his rabbi, the one in Wilmington, Delaware, where, of course, Aaron Paul, who's here tonight, grew up, is very close to him. So that's a little bit about President Biden and the Jews. History will judge. There will be lots of things that we don't expect happening as well. To be continued. All right. We are now going to rise for the Aleinu, page 57. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'tet gedula liotzev reshit, shelo asanu kegei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol hamonam, v'anachnu korim, umishtachavim umodim, lifnei melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Shehu note shamayim veyoser aretz, umoshev yekaro bashamayim mima'al, ushchinat uzo, begov he miromim, hu Eloheinu enod, emet malkeinu efesulato, kakatu betorato, v'yadata hayom v'hashivota elevavecha, ki Adonai hu Elohim, Bashamayim mimal, v'ha'aretz mitachat, enod. Kakatu b'torah techad loch le'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai, L'melech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu, yeh Adonai echad, ushemo echad. We may be seated as we lovingly recall the memory of our departed relatives and friends whose yortzites we observe during the coming week, thinking especially tonight of Sarah Blumberg, Malka Breslov, Aubrey Brody, Victor Samuel Cohen, Pearl Coopersmith, Dora Davis, Rabbi Ralph DeKoven, Jenna Dixon, Yetta Engelberg, Ray Fine, Lily Mary Fogelson, Herbert Goldstein, Fanny Gray Klein, Dr. Simon Haskell, Sarah Herskowitz, Rose Jacobovich, Joseph Jacobs, Sylvia Karsh, Robert Kruger, Molly Loeb, Mary Leon, Max Levine, Harry Levine, Jacob Lobel, William Moravsky, Moshe Nagar, Agnes Pankovic, what a wonderful volunteer, Carl Plotkin, Betty Ray, Zelda Rosenfeld, Morris Rothman, Jean Crystal Rubin, David Sadian, Shoshana Shoshani, Maurice Tobin, Matty Waxman, Marion Newman Wolf, Joe Zatkin, Ruth Zellenziger. We are in the Shloshim for Larry Kaufman, father of Richard Kaufman, and the Shiva for Sid Rose, the father of Mike Rose. Mike is here with us tonight, and our thoughts are with you. May his memory be a blessing. May all their memories be a blessing. We ask those who are mourning or observing yortzeit, as well as anyone else who would choose to do so, to rise for the mourner's Kaddish at this time. Yitgadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, v'almad yivrach yirutei, v'amlich malchutei, v'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayechol beit Yisrael, bagalav izman kari v'imru amen. Yehei shmei rabbah mevorach, le'olam olam me'almaya, Yitbarach v'yishtabach, v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shemei dekudesha barichu, la'ela min kol berchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran v'yalma v'imru amen. Yehei shlama rabba min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Osei shalom b'imroma, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Zichronam livracha. May the memory of the people you've come to say Kaddish for be a blessing to you always. And let us say, Amen. There'll be services tomorrow, virtually only. Susan Simon will be reading Torah. Tamar Brightness will be leading Shacharit. I will be giving a drash. Next Friday night, we hope to be live and in person outdoors, but it will be raining all week, so there's a very good chance we won't be. Sign up anyway if you have a yortzeit or wish to attend. Next Saturday, a week from Saturday, we'll have some participation with the Song of the Sea being led by Ruby Tzadikman, Haftorah by Georgia Polston, and of course I will be there as well. And let's see, anything else? Mishloch Manot, fill those out, send those in. One of our most important fundraisers of the year, send gift baskets to everyone in the congregation. All right, so I'm going to do 3 closing songs, none of which are Jewish songs tonight, honoring different people. Hank Aaron died today, Henry Aaron, and so I want to do just a piece of a song honoring him for a second, okay? Move over, babe, here comes Henry, and he's swinging mean. Move over, babe, here comes Henry, he'll hit 714. That's all I got for that one. Okay, the next one is in honor of our custodian, Justin, who's here tonight, and he had COVID and is all better. You probably can't hear me doing this, but this one is dedicated to him because he is a boxer. Just doing the ending of it in Justin's honor. In the clearing stands a boxer and a fighter by his trade, and he carries the reminders of every glove that laid him down or cut him till he cried out in his anger and his shame, I am leaving, but the fighter still remains, yes, still remains. Lie, 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 lie. All right, so that's in honor of Justin. Welcome back. So glad you are well. And the final song is very new, and it's by an obscure artist called Langhorne Slim. And I just thought it really captured the mood of the last few months and today. And so I'm going to attempt to do this one. It's called Mighty Soul. Someday the world might come and blow your house down. First a tornado, then a plague. Let us use our hands to help and hold. Let us utilize our mighty soul. You might be worried about the government. I admit that I was worried too. We will endure this wretched toll. Let us pour love into the mighty soul. So we'll all know that we don't know nothing, and it's a new world to behold. A golden hour to stand for something, to find the power in your mighty soul. Someday the world might come and blow your house down. First a tornado, then a plague. Let us use our hands to help and hold. Let us pour love into the mighty soul. Shabbat Shalom, and let's be safe and careful out there. Baruch Tiyeh, thank you for being here.